Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Vlad here from Infinity Insight. I'm super excited to announce the launch of yet another amazing visualization library. This one's called D3 Magic for Qlik. We'll get into why it's called D3 Magic in just a bit, but let me give you a little background on what this is all about. So, some of you may remember a little while ago, about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, there was an article making the rounds in the Tableau circles, basically a new way to visualize parts of a whole better than a traditional stacked bar chart. So this was, I don't remember if this was originally by the Fleur-Lage twins, or if they just made this kind of popular, made this go viral. But essentially the idea was that rather than having a visualization that looks like this or traditional stacked bar, wouldn't it be cool if you have one that looks like this? And let me zoom in a little bit here in my browser. So essentially, the idea here is that it's basically nested bars. So you have one large bar and then little baby bars inside of it, like Russian nesting dolls. And basically, the sum of these adds up to the height of this. And so you're able to compare at a glance, you're able to compare the height with of the whole as well as the height of the individual parts. Very, very slick. And I got very excited when I saw this. And my first instinct was that Infinity Insight has to create something like this for Qlik. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of saw a very obvious weakness, which is that you could see this demo here deals with three segments. So you got this the blue, the orange, and the green. It doesn't the demo never actually talks about what happens if you have more. And the reason that they don't, I believe, is that it's rather obvious what happens. This is not a very scalable solution. You can kind of imagine that as you get more and more of these child components, the parent bar gets super wide. You stop being able to compare the parent bars because you're going to reach a point very quickly where maybe just one or two of the parent bars fit on the screen. But at the same time, I do recognize that there's probably better ways to do things than stack bar charts. And so this actually tied in nicely with an idea that I've had bouncing around in the back of my mind for actually a few years. This is something that I personally have always wanted to see. And this was the impetus I needed to basically get this done to create this, which is called grouped waffles. And I think the best solutions are those that you kind of create for yourself, right? So let me show you what this thing looks like. So this is a little example app that shows you recipes. So you got a bunch of recipes, brownies, chocolate cake, and whatnot. And then you have ingredients, just a cute little data set. Now, at the bottom of the screen, we have what this would look like as a traditional stacked bar chart. And obviously, this is rather chaotic. You have, I believe we have 10 ingredients here, and it's not good, right? So I don't know how else to say it. It's not good. This stacked bar becomes very difficult to read. Yes, you're able to compare the heights very easily, the heights of the total. And here the totals, let's say, represent just grams or milliliters. But you're not really able to compare to say much about the segments themselves, just because there's too many of them. It's not how our brains process information. So the top has our brand new visualization type. This is a grouped waffle. So the way this works, each one of these is what's called a waffle plot, also known as a grid plot. And each square, and this is also convertible to dots. So each square represents a certain amount of whatever it is you're measuring. So here I basically set the scale so that each square represents 10 grams or 10 milliliters, right? And you can see right away that, especially for a large number of slices, you're able to compare the quantities much, much better. So if we're looking here at this quantity of sugar, I can more easily see how much sugar chocolate cake uses than brownies, for instance. So that's one advantage. The other advantage you'll notice is that you actually are able to save a tremendous amount of real estate. Because if you see, I kind of made the charts equal heights, but I didn't even have to do that. I have a lot of empty space here. I can just shrink this down, save a bunch of room on my dashboard, and this chart looks exactly the same. So I'm actually able to see more in less space. which is always nice that you don't have to make that trade-off. The other really nice thing, and I know this is not a disadvantage in some platforms, but in Qlik specifically, when you're looking at a stacked bar and you have custom colors, which is what I have defined here, that I want chocolate chips to always be this very dark brown. These are all custom colors. You're not able to show a legend in the Qlik bar chart. So with our extension, that's not a limitation. The other nice thing that we baked in is universal mouse over. So if I want to see, for instance, which recipes use a lot of sugar, I can kind of see that there's definite outliers. It's very easy to compare. That everything it just highlights really, really easily. The other really nice thing, if I'm looking at a ClickSense stack bar, if I click, let's say I want to click on this white segment here, I'll filter. You'll see what I actually filtered on was not the white segment I clicked on. Instead, I filtered on the entire recipe, which is not what I wanted to do. In our extension, you don't have any such limitation. You can click directly on here. It'll filter for whatever you're clicking on. If you want to filter for the recipe, you just click on the recipe name. It'll filter that way. So you don't have any trade-off there as well. The other really nice thing that you may have noticed is that I actually have these waffles. I have them internally sorted based on on the ingredients that each one uses the most of. So that's something you're not able to do with a stacked bar. Normally in a Qlik stacked bar, the sort order is universal. So if this yellow slice, it's always going to be like in this third position. Over here, this chocolate cake, we can see that its biggest ingredient is this white segment, but it doesn't get sorted to the bottom. So here we have the ability to sort either internally by whatever the majority is of the internal components, or you could sort by just globally, kind of like in the traditional way. So it's also a really powerful way to be able to see what are the biggest ingredients that are used. So again, like really, really powerful. The other nice thing is like the other reason you might want to use a waffle, a grouped waffle, is actually I have a second example to show you here, a buildings example. So this is a rather interesting data set. This was published about a year ago. I forgot by which government agency, but essentially their report showed what percentage of government buildings in Washington, D.C. were not actually used, were basically sitting vacant. Now, the data set itself is perhaps slightly questionable, but we'll suspend disbelief for purposes of this demo, and we'll kind of assume that this is gospel. So the nice thing here, this visualization, even though I would say because this is a two-slice segment, two-slice stack bar chart, it's not visually overwhelming. I can kind of quickly see as a visual comparison, but in terms of kind of giving that feel that, hey, this is an office building, this really does, I think, a much nicer job because you have this effect that, hey, these are individual cells, these are offices within this particular building. Here, it's like a building being filled up. It doesn't really feel quite the same. The other thing in this demo that we didn't have in the recipes demo is you'll notice here we actually have a border drawn around each of these individual waffles. The reason we have that is to, again, create this same type of visual effect that we had in this nested, I'm not even sure what you call this, nested bar charts. But basically we wanted to create the same effect so I can quickly see what are the relative heights of the total bars. So here I could see that, okay, like maybe this building is fairly empty, but also there's kind of not a lot of square feet to begin with. It's a fairly small building, so maybe the savings there don't make a lot of sense, right? And so here the total number of square feet really do matter. In the recipes example, I don't necessarily care what are the total grams or milliliters added up together of all things. So here I have the freedom to turn that off because grand totals don't make sense here. So in general, you have a tremendous amount of control over this extension. You can do things like control the legend very finely, legend behaviors. You could, like I mentioned, you could turn the squares into dots. You could do all sorts of really cool things. The best part is this is all free. So we're going to be making this extension available 100% for free for download on our website. I really would love feedback. I'm hoping there's going to be upcoming revisions of this if there are any enhancements or, of course, God forbid, bugs that we've missed. But please let us know how you're using it. We hope you like it. It's kind of our way of giving back to the Qlik community. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoy.